Good evening. Sorry, my phone has got the wobbles. It'll calm down in a minute because I'm going to move you anyway. To excuse, the time of the year is where the washing comes inside. So I get an extra bit of display washing behind me. So welcome to my channel. This is Esther at Stampin Star Creations. It's a creative channel and I use Stampin' Up products mainly to do some crafting videos for you, to inspire you and to get you creating and loving what you can do with stamps. So welcome along. It's nice to have you. So last week on my live, I did a autumnal wreath, followed by then a wintry wreath. And I decided the plan would be that I would carry on with a spring and summer one. So I'll turn the camera around and show you those in a sec and talk you through what technique that I did and what I call it. So some of you may have heard of the wet wipe technique before, where you literally use wet wipes and ink with the wet wipes. But I was mindful that some people might not have wet wipes or re-inkers, as we call them, to ink up your ink pads. So this was another way of trying to get the look without having those things. What you do need though is water spritzers and a block or a soft surface. So you could even use a silicone mat for this. In fact, I could try that tonight, but I think with the block at least you get to see what colours you're laying down. So I'm going to turn you around and show you what we did last week. Just got to, oh, I didn't turn off the old notifications. Let me just do that. And try and call you up on my other device in the hope that I can keep track of comments. So I'm going to try and lift you up and draw you down so I don't keep knocking the screen. Let's hope that works. Okay, so last week we started off with this autumnal wreath with various stamps. The main one that I used for this one was artistically inked and gorgeous leaves. And then we went on to stamp this wintry inspired one using, I think it was Beauty of Tomorrow to do this, and Forever Fern, and something else by the looks of it. But I will try my hardest to remember to link back to that video. So today I'm going spring, and I've tried to choose some spring-like colours and some spring-like stamp sets that I thought would work. So I've chosen Daisy Lane, got a bit of a glare, hand-penned petals, and I've brought out the artistically inked again because it's great for that kind of watercolour effect, and it's got the leaves and the flowers in it. And then in terms of colours, I wanted to go pastels. Now, when I came to get my shimmer paper out, this is the last piece that I've got. So if this goes wrong, there's no plan B. I've got a rogue pearl on my paper. So I've chosen Blushing Bride, So Saffron, Petal Pink, Pale Papaya, Pear Pizzazz, all the P's, and Balmy Blue and Mint Macaron. So I'm going to say a quick hello and then we're going to get started. Hi to Deborah and Kelly. Just shout if it's your first time, because sometimes I don't always recognise people's names if you come in occasionally. So do say if this is your first time here. Deborah and Glenna and Ellie. And Cindy. And Ruthie and Claire and Joanna and Elizabeth and Deb and Karen and Elizabeth and Jan and Shirley and Michelle and Maureen and Carol. Whoa, lots and lots of you tonight. Thank you so much. To somebody's, or not your first time. Oh no, last shimmer paper catastrophe. I know a SU demonstration you can order with in the UK, says Deborah. Here, you can always order from my online shop. Right, spritzers. I filled up my water spritzer. And then look, I've got an emergency one. I found this. My boys obviously had this. This is a sweet in the UK and it's filled with sour liquid and you squirt it in your mouth as a like candy. I thought I was going to chuck it away and I was like, hey, I could refill that and use it as my backup plan in my craft room. So I thought it was quite fun. I wanted to lay down a kind of an initial background with maybe a pale colour like petal pink. So I'm going to maybe do you know what? I'm just going to stick to the one colour just for now, and then I can always add to it later. I'm going to try and stop knocking the table with my tummy. I think that's what's making the thing jog. Right, then I'm going to give it a few, if I spray it in the right direction, I'll just give it one spritz because that is quite enough water for my liking there at the moment. And it's just to get an initial background down. So I'm putting my stamp directly into that ink, and I'm just going to start applying that onto my paper. So at the start of making a wreath, you're not thinking, oh, does it look like a circle? That's not the point of this bit. It's just laying something down onto paper. Right, I'm happy with that. I'm going to add on some Blushing Bride on this side and some pale papaya. Oh, do I want to put pale papaya? I'm going to put pale papaya here because the yellow just suddenly called me just then. He said, what about me? I'm going to just try and squish a little bit of yellow. I can always come back and wipe my palette. So you like my purple refiller? I know, it's cool, isn't it? It's quite cool. Hi, welcome those who are joining. Right, what I sometimes do is put with a Sharpie pen is draw an arrow on here so that I know what direction the pen is squirting in. Somewhere around here I did have a Sharpie. Sure, I've organised my desk and my spinny carousel, but my Sharpie has disappeared. Oh well, I'm just going to have to look at what I'm doing. Okay, not too much water, Esther. Just getting carried away. Right, and I want to come in with these little daisies. Oh, what a splodge I've got. That's not quite the plan. Okay, I got too much water on that. It's because I hesitated when I pressed the doofer. Great English, great English. But you know, the whole point of this is to have a watercolour look anyway. So, you know, we're just going to go with it. We're going to use up that palette. Okay, where's my dirty rag? You dirty rag. I'm going to give this a wipe down, just literally wipe it off with an old towel. And start again with those colours. So I want a nice bit of yellow. I want some more pink to show up. So I'm going to come in with Blushing Bride. I'm tempted to add in another colour of howdy Cindy and Fee and Jan. Uh-oh, am I blurry? I hate being blurry because you can't see what I'm doing if I'm blurred. Might just be my setting. So if you go into the three dots, you can actually change the quality of the video, and sometimes that helps. Okay, so I'm going to introduce this flower from the hand penned petals, and I want to mix the colours a bit, so I'm going to go for the middle of the, oh, that's nice. Going for roughly the middle of my palette. That's a bit tricky to fit one in there, so I'm just going to come here and maybe do a couple there. Now, don't worry, because we've got more to do. We've got the leaves to pop in as well. But with this stage, it's just about filling those gaps and adding some florals. So it's starting to look a nice and oval shape now, but I do want to maybe spread out a little bit, which we can do. Okay, so if I've used my stamp, I'm going to put it off to the side. I could do with a smaller flower like this one I think. So we're now going to start downsizing. Stamping with watercolours, says Shirley. Yeah, so I've just put the ink pad onto my block and I've spritzed it with water to create our own palette. Now I call it faux wet wipe technique, but in a sense it's like watercolouring really. You get a lovely mix of colour, you don't quite know what you're going to get. Okay, so I think that's enough of that. What I do want to do is because they're quite big flowers, it filled the space quite quickly. So now we're going to concentrate on some greenery. Deborah just changed the quality and it's made a big difference. So just try that out. You can press the 3 dots and look at the quality of the settings. So in order not to contaminate the other inks too much, I'm trying not to stamp too closely. But I do like the merge of colour. When you get 3 colours together, you kind of end up creating a new colour. Right, don't hesitate. I think when I hesitate, it doesn't spray very well. So if you look at the droplets, you want kind of thickish droplets, okay, not too wet, but not too dry. So I really wanted to use this fern stamp here, and I might just partially use it for my wreath because I don't want it to take over too much, but I want there to be some greenery, make it more spring-like. Megan says, Esther, that's great, thank you. So this is quite a big stamp to start adding the leaves, so just be aware of where you're stamping it. I'm going to come over here for a bit of a different colour. It's quite an unusual palette to work with when you're stamping from a block. Okay, so we've laid down the initial biggest stamp first. Looks like a skeleton leaf. Yeah, it does look a bit like that, doesn't it, Ellie? And I'm going to use these as a leaf. So this comes from, again, the hand-penned petals, and you can add it onto here, but I'm going to use it. Oh, we could save it for dottage later. Maybe I'll do that. Let's add some more. Let's add this wispy one here. I do like this stamp. You want some more greenery. And with this one, we could maybe add some leaves to it so it doesn't look so floaty. So at the moment, I'm not convinced by it, but I think if I go on to add some leaves, I think I could save myself. I could save it. So sometimes you might get to this point in your stamping and go, no, don't like it, and start giving up. But let me just encourage you just to carry on, because remember, this is not the finished article. There's more to go on. I've still got other leaves that I want to incorporate. So here come the leaves. I'm wondering whether to add some leaves onto that spriglet thing. I think I prefer it with some leaves on. So it's acting as a branch, as it were. And because it's watercolour effect, you're adding these layers upon layer, like an onion, as Shrek would say. Now at this point it's starting to dry out a little bit, and I might want to add some more water. I can still, there's enough on there for me to pick up some different colours, so I'm just going to carry on using that palette. And also these particular leaves are a bit, the stamps sort of give that impression. Have I missed any comments? So do ask any questions. I love the watercolour effect going there. Gorgeous colours, thank you. Oh, Jan got very Versailles yesterday. You're in the club now, are you, Jan? So over on Ruth's channel, she's my sister, we talked about very Versailles, and she said, oh, I can't be your friend if you don't have very Versailles. Now, I'm finding it a bit too blobby, those leaves. I could do with something a bit more delicate. So let's bring in our friend here, see what we can do here. Might use this to tuck in amongst the flowers a bit more. So when you see flowers in nature, oh Joanna, bless you, thank you so much for your super chat. When you see flowers in nature, they are usually tucked amongst green leaves, aren't they? They're not on their own. So this is a nice way of just trying to incorporate dottage and leafage. Oh, Vicky's promoted. Congratulations. What have you promoted to, Vicky? That's exciting. Ruthie says, I haven't tried this yet. Faux watercolour. Must try it this week. Well, please do share it on my Facebook group if you do have a go with it. I can extend this out a bit because I can. We want a nice kind of organic wreath. Look, I'm really running out of colour now, but I'm just going to just keep stamping. And this is about the final touches. You stand back and have a look. What does it need? Where do I need to add some more? The dottage. Are you promoted to a Stampin Star admin? I suddenly made a few of you admin because I was thinking I could do with some more admins, so I just whacked on a few more. Okay, so taking a step back, I'm going to have a little think. I think I'd like to incorporate a bit more yellow and maybe give these flowers, oops, I've lost my video, flowers a bit more of a centre. So now we're working on a bit more of the detail of the image. So I wanted to concentrate on, actually we could, I'm going to do half polished pink and half So Saffron. Whoa. I live dangerously. Hi Liz, nice to see you. Right, give this a spray. So I'm thinking I might just go in the middle here because that's a nice colour. See if we can add just a bit of detail inside these. I don't want a blob, I want something a bit more. It's just turning into a blob. I don't want a blob. I started, so I'll finish. Okay, the blobs are just going to have to do. I will sort those out somehow with, let's stamp this on top of it. A bit more texture. Suddenly the flowers have turned into something else. Mr. Blobby. I don't know why my stand is so shaky today. I hope it's not always like that. They're a new breed of flower, I've decided. See, because it's watercolour, I feel like you can get away with it a bit more. Whereas if you were stamping this normally, it'd look a bit odd. Okay, stop wobbling. Stay still. Okay, and some yellow, smaller flowers. That's better, yeah. So you need to kind of stand back and think, right, what's missing? Got plenty of the pinks and the oranges, but could do with some more yellow. So that's where this comes in. Now, some people might call this a hot mess. Some people call it art. I call it creativity. And it's, can I just say, it's not meant to be looked at up close and personal. It's the kind of thing that you'll have hanging on your wall at a distance. So just bear that in mind, please. With most watercolour, that is the case. So I'm just going to try and enclose something on there. This circle a little bit. Extend out these flowers. Okay, I think I'm going to stop there for spring. It's sure not a hot mess. Thank you, Ruthie. I'm glad that you see the vision of what I'm attempting to do. How are we doing for time? That was quite quick, 20 minutes. I was going to scoot off actually and do the next one another time because I'm feeling rather tired today and I'm back to work tomorrow. As much as I'm tempted to stay and do another, I will come back. So let's just go through. So this was our autumn, winter, and our spring. It looks a little bit yellow in this light, so I'm just gonna tilt you up a bit to see if I can get you. So just bear with me. You might want to close your eyes at this point. Try and catch it in the right light. It's so, you know, things look so different. It looks very yellow on screen when actually in real life it's not yellow like that at all. It's a bit more, let's see if I could change the colour of my light. See if it'll, aha, that's a better lighting. I think that shows a truer colour. There we go. Right, so tomorrow, if you're not on Facebook, but you want to see what I made today, then I'll give you a quick peek of that. What I'll do is I'll come back next week and we'll do a summer one. So I'm thinking really lovely bright colours. So bright pinks and maybe some blues, and we'll have a little think about summer. Okay. Right, so let me show you those cards. So I used a mixture of 2 stamp sets. So when Ruth came, I stamped out some images. Hi there, Tracy. I'm just showing what I've done on Facebook today, and I've turned them into cards. So I'm just going to show you what I've done. If you don't want to see it, look away now. So that was one. This one we managed to finish on online, but I've added some bits to the centre of the flowers. And then these ones I've gone ahead and mounted up and used the embossing fold in the background. And then for this one I used the deboss. Just kept it nice and simple. And then, I don't know if you've watched the Facebook Live, I cut out that square from this here, and this was a piece of scrap. But rather than disregarding it, I used my leftover pieces to make another card. So there you go. And then there were some leftover flowers, and I made that. So there you go. Just goes to show what you can make out of those little bits and pieces. So don't disregard them. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. Let's turn you back around. Nice to see you. I'm sorry it's a short one tonight, but I will be back again next week to finish off the theme of the faux watercolouring. If you do this and would like to share the results, please do. I'd love to see it. If you're not on Facebook, then you can send me a message. Maybe one of my many admin can put in my email address. If not, head over to SSC Inspired and Shared on Facebook to share your creations. Oh, I look lovely in yellow. Thank you. Oh, yeah, these earrings were given to me for my 40th birthday, and they're beaded. So and they're gold and silver, so they go well with lots of things, which is nice. They're all sewed together with beads. So. Thank you, 30 thumbs are uppers. That's amazing. That's an amazing result for 32 watching. Thank you so much. And lots of ways in which you can support me. Thumbs up, free to do. Bit of time to take to write a comment afterwards. I appreciate that. Super chat if you hit the $sign next to your comment. But if you're thinking of donating and supporting me financially, then PayPal is the way forward. So I think my details should be in the description afterwards. Very intricate earrings, aren't they? Yes. But I'm just happy to have your company and support. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I'll love you and leave you and hopefully catch up with you again next week. And look out for my Facebook Live, which will come out tomorrow at 4 p.m. my time. Okay. Take care, everybody. Lots of love. And hopefully I'll catch you all soon. Thank you, Liz. Night, everybody. Bye.